taste buds ready because Taste of Cayman is back. Join us May 13th at Festival Green, Camana Bay. Eat, drink, and dance the night away. Taste of Cayman offers the very best of Cayman's food and drink scene with plenty of music to keep the party going. Get your festival tickets online today at tasteofcayman.org or call 623-6700. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Tourism Association and sponsored by AI Rentals, Camana Bay, DMS Broadcasting, and numerous valued partners.
Hello, and welcome to Cayman Conversations, now streaming on Cayman Times Facebook and YouTube channels, and also live on Bobo FM 89.1. We seek to elevate the level of media conversations with special guests from all walks of life during our 30-minute conversations. If you wish to appear on Cayman Conversations, email me at ralph@caymantimes.ky or just call me at 916-2000. Now let's get started with the first of our two great conversations and our special guests of today. Information to talk about. So now let's hear it from UCCI. Good afternoon, Cleveland. How are you today?
Good afternoon, Mr. Lois. Always a pleasure, sir. Good to see you.
It was a pleasure. Welcome back. You were here a couple of months ago, I think, when we started our first Cayman Conversations, and it was very interesting that, ResinBid has taken off. And now we're here to the second grant. Before we talk about the grant, tell us something about ResinBid. What does ResinBid stand for, and what is it?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you very much for having us. Thank you very much for creating this space, for my colleagues and myself to be able to voice what's happening in the UCCI community and at large. The ResinBid grant is a initiative that's spearheaded by the European Union and directed or managed by the French expertise. ResinBid, as you might recall, stands for Resilience, Sustainable Energy, and Marine Biodiversity. And as an institution, ResinBid focuses on human capital development, looking at how those key elements that I just mentioned really impacts that sort of development and really funds initiatives that goes after making strategic improvement in resilient strategies, sustainable energy strategies, and those focused on marine biodiversity.
Very well, very well. Have you seen a good response from the public at large?
So this, as you mentioned, this is our second grant, and so hats off to the awesome team here at UCCI, led by Dr. Deborah Beal, who was really the originator of a lot of these ideas, and she is certainly supported by our president, Dr. Robert Robinson. The first grant was very well received. You might recall that this was primarily a training grant, so we had 50 students who have been enrolled across 4 sectors. And so those students are currently in internships or preparing for their exams. And so we're looking for very successful outcomes there. We want to get as much of those 50 certificates in place by July or August of this year.
Right. I remember recently attending a breakfast, it was, and where, we had actually some of the graduates from that program, actually make presentations, and that time we had the doctor, the head of this university, actually made a presentation. You had someone from another hotel industry make another presentation. It was a very good event, and I think you were, sort of appealing to some sponsors to come on board and help with this great thing. So now we've got a second grant. Can you speak more about details of the grant, how much is involved, and what's it going to be used for?
Yeah, absolutely. And just let me just give a quick shout out to all the employers who have taken on our students and are helping us to really mentor the next generation of tourism management personnel, solar personnel, IT personnel. So really hats off to those in individuals. This grant really picks up from where the last grant left off. Okay. So the first grant was focused on, the first grants ask a couple of questions. First of all, what training is needed in the next 10 to 15 years as we look towards creating a sustainable framework for ourselves from a human capital perspective? And how do we need to upgrade our curriculum inside of UCCI in order to begin to deliver that training? And it really attempted to ask that question using a labor market assessment, which is currently being completed and we should have the findings published by the end of the month or the middle of June. And so that was Resumbit 1. Resumbit 2 then takes that conversation and really expands it beyond just UCCI community or just Cayman community in general, and really ask what would it take for us to become a beacon of and a model for sustainability framework across the Caribbean. And so the deliverables of this grant are a little bit different. Deliverable number one, what does a sustainable plan looks like for the university? Is our first task, and so
Yes.
we are preparing documentation, we're interviewing consultants, and so we're putting together a team to be able to create that for framework. That's deliverable one. Deliverable two, we then going to do a comprehensive audit of all the buildings here on campus. Listen, this campus has been around for a while, and certainly it serves us well in some respect, but a lot of us who have been here know that from an energy efficiency standpoint, we do have some key challenges. So the second deliverable is to have a ASHRAE audit done. And let me just break that down for you. ASHRAE stands for American Society for Heating, Refrigeration, and Air Conditioning Engineers. And so those engineers are going to come on campus, do assessments of all the buildings in terms of energy usage, water usage, air quality, and then give us back a report that says, okay, if you have some money to spend, here are the 5 buildings that you really want to invest those funds in.
Yes.
So the deliverable number 3 is to then do upgrades to at least 5 buildings here on campus.
Right.
Deliverable number 4, and you're going to bear with me, this grant has a lot of outcomes. It's a very ambitious project. But deliverable number 4 is to then take all of that data that then gets collected and then create a living laboratory so you can actually see in real time how the campus is utilizing energy, how it stands for where it's positioned in terms of air quality, water quality, usage in terms of the faculty, and then to begin to share that information across the Caribbean through various partnerships, because we're trying to make this a landmark project, obviously.
Yes.
And the fifth and final deliverable is then take all of that knowledge and create a couple of online courses in energy audit, for example, so that local Caymanians can really begin to do their part in helping us to reduce our carbon footprint as an island. I know that was a mouthful, but that's really what we're trying to do with this grant.
Well, yes, you have a lot of work on your hands, and it's a huge task. But I can see where you're leading by example. And actually, when I went to the campus a couple of days ago, there's a big setup of panels in the yard, and I had a feeling that was sort of a demonstration of what can happen. Now, to see it on the roof, so on the framework, and actually connected to the electrical grid, then that is where we're going to see something happen, and you can all benefit the campus. So it's always good to lead by example and set the example right there so people can see. And so where do you come into this? What is your main role, and who else is involved?
Yeah, and so you just mentioned the solar arrays, and I think I probably overlooked that. We actually going to be installing 150 kilowatt solar array on the auditorium, which really doubles as an emergency shelter for us here on campus. My role as the project manager is really the orchestra conductor, right? And so I help manage all of the various components and team leads and consultants. So I help craft the documents that allow us to create terms of references, place our bids on Bonfire, ensure that we are 100% compliant in that regard and we are getting the best value for our money, and to ensure that the project stays on task, timelines, budget, and the quality of the deliverable. But certainly I'm not an island, so I have a very, very competent team inside here. My ministry support is Ms. Kess Hamilton, whose input here is always invaluable. But the project, from a leadership standpoint, is governed by a steering committee that's headed by the president, Mr. Robinson. Members of that committee include Ms. Catherine Childs from the National Trust, representatives from the Ministry of Sustainability, who are our partners in this. Like, there are several resemblant grants, and this one is really connected to the grant that the Ministry of Sustainability has. And so we will be working closely, in tandem with them, both to develop courses as well as to improve public awareness around sustainability.
Yes, yes. And for those listeners who just joined us, we are actually live on Cayman Conversations. We're talking with Mr. Cleveland Julian about the Resembit program at the UCCI. Remember, you can, if you missed any part of this conversation, you can always find it on our YouTube and Facebook pages. Back to Mr. Julian. Who benefits from this development and this grant? Is it UCCI on loan? Is there anybody else can benefit from this program? What do you think?
Well, if you ever had any dealings with Resembit is very specific in the outcome, and they want to ensure that when they invest their funds, that there is a legacy that's created by everything that's done. And so we have three key stakeholders here. The first of all, it's UCCI. The solar arrays, 150 kilowatt, for example, once installed, it means that there would be a rebate that we get back every single year from CUC that is going to be poured back into the institution and be able to fund courses and ongoing training for UCCI students and the Caymanian community at large. Obviously, this digital library, this living laboratory will serve the needs of faculty, their research and interests, and beyond. And certainly as an institution, we're going to grow in our recognition and demonstrative leadership in this sustainability space. So there's certainly a lot to gain here from a UCCI standpoint. But that, I think, is the really smallest piece. As we open it up a little more, the Cayman Islands community, BRAC, Little, Grand, the government, the larger community will all have the benefit of this data and the outputs thereof. So it's really far-reaching in that perspective. And the thing that really distinguishes this project from the first one is then this Caribbean interest. Certainly we're looking to partner here with the likes of the University of the West Indies, the Caribbean Community for Climate Change, the Caribbean Center for Energy Efficiency, all of which are really critical partners here. At the end of this, we really hope that we would not only create stronger bonds with our Caribbean partners, but as I said, begin this conversation about what does it mean to be a technological and innovative leader in the space of sustainability as a institution.
Yes. So definitely we can see where the benefits are far reaching. And I just hope and I wish that more people and more residents of Cayman sort of tune into the sustainability programs and look at how it's benefiting not only the Cayman Islands, but the region and the world, and adopt those sort of mindsets and habits to sort of improve their lifestyles. Because I know many other countries and that do have programs, and you go around and see solar panel heaters on their houses, and they have really, embraced it. And in one of our previous conversations, we asked, why are we behind the ball in this? But I'm seeing now that we are getting in front of the ball, and we are going to be the example to follow. And we have programs that are coming together with us nicely. So I'm very proud of you and what you've done. The staff, of course, and the students are critical to this whole success. So when we look at students at the UCCI, and especially those in this program, how are they embracing it? I spoke to one gentleman and he gave me some feedback, but you tell me, how are they on a whole embracing this project?
Yeah, so let me just be clear about this. So we literally started this phase of it on April 3rd, and so we are not a month in yet to this
Yes,
new project. So um, the felt experience probably hasn't been created yet
yes,
for others, but certainly the first grant has already
right,
had an impact, right? So we have students who have already successfully gone through the process of training, already successfully completed their certification, are completing their internships right now, and
right,
we're in the process of planning their graduation in August. All of
right,
which we hope will really join to really help us to amplify this second conversation that we're about to have.
yes,
I would say, Ralph, that one of the lessons learned from the first grant, and I am really working assiduously with our internal team to ensure that we don't repeat this. Um, we got to do a better job at really telling this story and really keeping this information in
yes,
front of individuals. Um, I think having having accomplishments in this area doesn't really mean a lot if people don't really know and they really can benefit from
yes,
it, right? So it's really being able to consistently and effectively tell that story so individuals know what we're doing, how it impacts them, how they can get involved, how they can benefit, how does this impact the Caymanian community
yes.
as a whole.
And just to add to that point, I've been here 40 years and more, and there are so many positive stories that get lost and get forgotten. And there's so many things that we have achieved as a community, as a country. And so that's one of the reasons why we have Cayman Conversations. Because if you don't keep the conversation to the forefront, many of our successes will get lost. And all our investments and other investments will fall to the wayside. And I remember in one of our early conversations, we said, are you going to be held accountable for that investment that Rizembid have placed in your hands? And you said, certainly yes. And they have a system in place to track it. Can you speak to that briefly?
Yeah, absolutely. And so the as I said, Rezimbit is very diligent about how they measure success. And so I have moved out of the role as the project manager for the first grant, and I'm being ably supported in there by Mr. Matthew McGill, who is a recent addition to the team. But in conversations with Matthew, I always mention three things, the three numbers, and it's 50, 50, 25. And so the tracking of our success here is, can we get 50 certifications out of students who have taken these courses? Can we have 50 of them going through quality internship experiences? And at the end of that, can we have at least 25 of them in permanent jobs? So
Yeah.
right there, there's that you could that's trackable. That's right in front of us. That first grant had a solar installation component, which you have already seen. You've been on campus, and so we have partnered with Green Tech in that effort to install that, and in collaboration with the National Trust as well. And so there are solar arrays, solar water heaters.
Yes.
If you come on the campus, you will see our quad is being renovated, and so hopefully we can
Yes.
deliver a
Right.
new experience there. Part of what you would see in that space eventually would be solar chargers that the students can
Okay.
can certainly benefit from. All of which are really tangible and measurable, right? And then there is this document that gets created in terms of a labor market assessment that we have done in collaboration the um, with work with the Chamber of Commerce and our business partners and the UCCI community at large. So those are the key deliverables of the first grant, and you can't miss them. right? If they're not done, then there's no way to really fudge those numbers. Is either we have them or not. Did the students graduate with certificates or not? It's not a matter of if they had a good experience. It's do they have a certificate in their hand? That's really the driving convo.
Okay. After this project, what's next? I know that it never seemed to amaze me. Are there any upcoming projects, or after this is that's it? You're going to focus on these two. What's happening down the future? Can you look into your crystal ball and give us a little idea of what you're thinking about,
I
or
really
is it
wish
all secret?
I really wish you didn't ask me that, but listen, I will tell you something. When this sustainability conversation really lives very rich for me, and so I was very excited to join this project when offered the opportunity from the very beginning, because I believe in sustainability. I believe in creating legacy. I believe in taking a far look into the future and asking, what do we need to do now in order to prepare for later. And so from a legacy standpoint, with Zimbabwe One grant, we're hoping to have a database that our community here can work with a data set to continue asking questions about the Cayman population. It's a really rich data set. We have taken our time to do it. It can stand the rigor of any statistical overview, right? And so we'll have a home for that data. In terms of this current grant that we're working on, I would love for when this is all said and done,
Yes.
can we move ourselves closer to having a center for innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainability? That way we get to extend this focus and really create a place and a home for a lot of the assets that are currently being created. I know if you ask me what I would certainly encourage and negotiate for, that would be it right there. In terms of what's coming next for this project, be on the lookout for our annual STEM conference, which in part gets funded by this grant.
Yes.
Be on the lookout for our sustainability workshop. Once our sustainability consultants identified, they'll have to do this really intense speaking to government, speaking to communities, speaking to businesses, speaking to ordinary individuals to really understand and assess people's knowledge and engagement, and really understand people's capacity for change in this space. And so the sustainability workshop is really going to be a key focus pretty early up. So the STEM conference, which is coming up, and our sustainability workshop, would I think be the next two key
Yes.
projects.
Okay, very well. I want to just jump back a bit into your, when you looked into your crystal ball, and to say that I was pleased to hear the premier had created a ministry in sustainability.
Me too.
And it tells us that he's serious about it, and he himself, the premier, took it over. Now, I know he's working hard, and hopefully he'll come on this show and talk to us about it, because I'm concerned that now taking on the Ministry of Finance, he may be a little distracted. And I would not want the sustainability momentum that he's picked up to go to the side. So yes, I totally agree. That's the future. There's so many opportunities, and since we're in the business of education, there's so much opportunities for our young people who may not want to be doctors or lawyers or bankers to go into this area of sustainability, because that is the only way out for us, or the only way in, because the world is changing, there's climate change, and all these things are happening. And if we don't look at sustainability, energy efficiency, food security, all those things that has to do with sustainability, how to grow our own backyard gardens, we're going to have a problem in the future, not only with the cost of living, but the availability of the resource that we need to live. So my personal thanks for the premier to have this. And so hopefully in the future, And I think from what you said, that is your hope as well, that we will embrace sustainability and put more effort and have a center that we can have to drive this way of thinking forward.
Listen, anything without a home is a nomad. And so what we don't want to create is a bunch of intellectual nomads here.
Yes.
We have to ground it someplace. If it doesn't get grounded, it will just wander until it gets lost. And so, much like you just said, having a focused ministry whose agenda is exactly that. And so we are guided by the national policy, obviously. Their goals are ours in this grant. And so we are closely aligned to figuring out how do we help the government reach its strategic objectives.
Yes.
Because by doing that, we also do the same for us. UCCI is one of the largest consumers of energy on the island. And so if we figure out how to reduce our footprint, by extension, we are doing that for the entire.
Yes. And to be fair to his ministry, actually one of the events I attended, his chief officer, Miss Jennifer Hearn, actually attended, and she spoke on his behalf, and she emphasized the commitment of the government to these projects. And so I think we can look forward to some of your hopes and dreams coming to reality. Well, before we wrap up, do you have any final words?
Well, hopefully I don't get too much trouble for putting all of that out there today. But Ralph, thank you for you and your team. As I said before, we cannot do this in a vacuum. What it requires is for our voices to be amplified. And so places like this gives us the opportunity to do actually that. So my gratitude to you and this space that you have certainly created. And just to our listeners, be on the lookout. And if you hear about a conversation either by ourselves or by the Ministry of Sustainability, join in the effort. Every voice counts here, and the more input we have, the better the deliverables that we're able to create for you. So please participate.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have you back.
Always.
Taste buds ready because Taste of Cayman is back. Join us May 13th at Festival Green, Camana Bay. Eat, drink, and dance the night away. Taste of Cayman offers the very best of Cayman's food and drink scene with plenty of music to keep the party going. Get your festival tickets online today at tasteofcayman.org or call 623-6700. Brought to you by the Cayman Islands Tourism Association and sponsored by AI Rentals, Camana Bay, DMS Broadcasting, and numerous valued partners.
I'm so in love with you, make me feel alright. I'm so in love with you, time goes on and seasons oh they change. One thing remains the same, I'm so in love with you. Sometimes it's hard to give of yourself. It's not what you want, it's what you get. Love the one you with, you'll see it will fit. Time you love more for what you need. Tonight, I'm so in love with you, make me feel alright. I'm so in love with you, time goes on and seasons they change. One thing remains process. Sometimes it's hard to get. It's not what you want, it's what you get. It's what you get. It's what you get. It's what you get. Love the one you with, you'll see it will fit. It's what you get every time. In time you love her more for what you did. Well, hold my hand tonight. I'm so in love with you. Make me feel alright. I'm so in love with you. Well, oh, hey, I'm so in love with you. I'm so in love with you.
Welcome back to Cayman Conversations. That was Mr. Stuart Wilson, a Caymanian musician. Video, sounding so good. He's so in love with you. And we're in love with Cayman Conversations already. We got lots of things lined up. And I'd like to invite Mr. Mark Langevin. Mark, welcome back to the show.
Ralph, I feel very special, not only to be invited to your show, and congratulations, but also that you introduced me with that beautiful song, I'm so in love with you. I feel very special here.
Very good, very good. Well, what we decided to do when we launched this new show was to promote local talent. And we have so much talent in the Cayman Islands that we just need to get them out there. And what a way than to intermingle them with our conversations, and it works. It works. It works.
So would you consider me as a local talent if I start singing now?
Of course, of course. We can
Right.
practice with some karaoke first of all and get you all started up. Anyway, welcome again. And Mark has been with us before. I always invite him on because he's so candid. He just says what he feels and feels what he says. And he's so knowledgeable about the tourist industry. And Cayman has a very robust tourist industry. And we went through some tough times, but we are bouncing back. And I remember Mark was the president of CETA. He came on. He had a lot of things to do with what's happening now. He's no longer the president. It's been passed on. But we'll have the president on maybe in future conversations. But Mark knows a lot about the hotels. And this is where my thoughts were today. And so I invited Mark to come on and let's talk about, Mark, what has happened in the last 3 months? I go to get a room for one of my friends who's visiting and I can't get a room available. I go to the restaurants, I'm waiting 20 minutes in line for food. That's not Cayman.
That's fantastic. What a fantastic news. So yes, things have changed. You say, I'm no longer the president of CETA. I am still involved with CETA as a past president, so I'm still with them and try to navigate through the future. It's a different challenge that's coming ahead, but I'm still obviously part. But the good news is I'm a full-time general manager now, so I can concentrate on the business. So what has happened is, we had pretty much everybody suddenly free vision of what could be the new business. So as soon as, if you think back in September when the government started to release all the restriction, so suddenly we went very, very strongly, everybody on their side, sometime together in the market. I mean, my travel business, my travel agenda for September, October, November, December, I've been all over the places. But it's not just me. Sometimes we were collaborating with the DOT, with the Ministry of Tourism for certain initiative. We were welcoming travel agents, we're creating events in the market, and each hotels have done that on their side, sometimes together, sometimes. So what happens when you do that? Obviously, we wanted to send a very strong message. We are back in the game, correct? Because it is very hard for people it's very easy for people to forget about us. We became the island that time forget. Unfortunately, that was not something that's good for us. And we had to send a very, very strong message. And as I said, we've traveled from Europe to London to the west, to north, south, everywhere to try to send a message And again, people are still asking questions, what's going on with Cayman? We think that everybody knew, not everybody knew. So that has been really the push from everybody in our industry, including the government, to go outside and send message. So the result is that we achieved basically our Q4, and that was a miracle, honestly, a miracle. But at the same time, you show the loyalty of our customers and the people. They have not been in our destination for almost 3 years, were absolutely gung-ho, excited to come back. And I remember when we started to have our first customers coming, I mean, it was really almost the tears and hugs, because a lot of our loyalty customers came back. They were so excited to come back. They felt for us. They followed the news. They knew everything about what we were doing on the island, because there is a certain part of loyalty. So we finished most of all the hotels, and we finished Q4 stronger actually than what we had back in 2019, which was our record year. And moving in January, February, in March, we were concerned because the pace was not the same. We were a little bit slower because the way reservation take place, it takes sometimes over a year. The way we built our business in our hotels, some component of it is booked 2 or 3 years in advance. For example, right now, this morning, I signed a contract for a corporate group coming for 26. So, some of the big blocks are booked 2 years, sometimes 1 year in advance. And then we start to open our channels of distribution to the individual travelers, and they are starting to book the year before for the next year. And at 11 months, there is more people booking, and 10 and things. So there is, some people booking, but we had lost last year a huge velocity. We lost all the January through pretty much September. People were not booking at the same pace than in the past, because obviously the uncertainty. Which is evident. So we had to do some catch up. And so it was a little bit frightening, I must say, that when you enter the month and you still have plenty of room available, and because you are always questioning, okay, it's fine, maybe they will book later, but will they find a plane? Because that's the next question. It's the one thing that you have the room available, but can people actually come here? So it was a combination of, is there enough air capacity, coming to the island from the right market, and is there enough demand coming from those markets, and so on. So it has been a very dangerous game that we played, but I can tell you at the end of quarter number 1, because now we are closing our book, we did very good in comparison to where we were 3 months ago. We were able to not necessarily be at the same level of occupancy, which, by the way, might be better. Again, that's some of the things we got to think for the future. What is the right level of occupancy? So maybe instead of being at 90, 95% occupancy, maybe we were at 80, 85, but that might be a better value proposition for everybody. And we can talk about that, because there's so many things that we have to think for the future. But what the good news is, we benefited from an increase in our rates for our room, because while we were closed, other markets have benefited from a compression, like the Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, other destinations, they were open before us. We were not there, so they took advantage of that time, and they had such a demand that they were charging more money. So when we came in the market, we did not have to, stretch it too much. We just applied the rate that they were doing. And the result is our customers came back to us at a better rate, and the business model worked actually better. So I think we are all absolutely satisfied where we have done. We could have done better, of course. But compared to where we were 6 months ago, 3 months ago, being able to achieve those results at the end of Q1 was exceptional. And the most important, I must tell you, is that our employees were back to work. They had full schedules, not like what we have suffered for the last 2 years. The gratuity pool, which is a key element of, was higher than ever. That means that our housekeepers, our employees working all over the place, have seen some checks. That's not going to pay off for everything they lost for the last 3 years, but still, it feels good to start to put back money at the bank. And I think that is essentially the most important for me as a general manager, because I'm always looking is, how, especially in that current environment of inflation, costs, and so on, how our employees are going to be able to live in that new environment. So I'm sorry, it's a long answer, but satisfied, excited, and at the same time, now at the end of quarters, looking at the futures, what's next?
Yes. Well, I liked how you take your time and you explain, because that's what we're here for. We're here to share information, and it gives you an opportunity to explain yourself, and for listeners to understand what really is happening. And we are here to convince that there is light at the end of the tunnel. It probably a full beam right now, but people are benefiting. They're able to make some more money and put more food on the table, put some more money in the bank. And I've seen it. I've seen people employed, and there's a concern that not enough Caymanians were getting work. I'm seeing a lot of Caymanians working, and I hope we can get some to come on at some point and talk about the benefits of what is happening now, because we will all remember what happened when we were shut down for a long time, and we were really suffering. And now, just to drive down the 7 Mile Beach Road and see what's happening is really happens my heart. And said I had to talk to Mark what was really happening, and it makes sense that the efforts of traveling and promoting destinations have actually paid off. And we all need to know that this is what it takes to make this thing happen. So when you see the DOT traveling every minute and having events in New York City and having dinners for clients and for the industry, it's not just a pleasure trip. It's actually working to boost the Cayman Islands, and it's paying off in the long run. And as you can see, we hope that the long run is going to continue to be better. And so
the business does not come by miracle. It's not because you open a sign in front of your door, put open, that they can come. I mean, let's face it, we have a lot of competition in the Caribbean, some more attractive offers, beautiful beach all over the place around the world. We are competing against globally, okay? I mean, that is what we are doing. And it takes relation. It takes relation between first the consumer and their travel advisor. All right. And then those travel advisors who are working in so many different places, they call us, they know us by name. That's why, when the DOT organized those fam trip, we were there to support them. We brought all our top travel agents, in our market, and we showcase, we demonstrate. So when they go back to their customers, they say, I know the general manager, I know the Minister of Tourism, I know the Director of Tourism, I have been on Stingrays. It's a good thing for your family, or it's not, because they will be able to direct them for the right destination. So relation in our business is still relevant. And that's why, as I said, I flew to London, I flew to France, to Cannes, to another conference. We went to Mexico, we went to Las Vegas, we went to Los Angeles, because it is one-on-one. Our business is still a business of human relation. People have to trust. They're spending a certain amount of money to come here, but more important than money sometimes is time. It's their family time. It's their, not everybody has too much vacation, and they ask, if they are coming us and giving us 5 days, they want the best experience they can have for those 5 days, and they trust that we are going to be able to deliver.
Yeah, excellent. Well, what's going to happen for the next 6 months? Is it a slow season? Is it everything's going to stop? Are we all going to go on vacation again? Are we just going to stay home? What's happening for the next 6 months?
There is going to be a shift. As soon as we finished, a couple more weeks is the same. Right now, we're experiencing it's a combination of spring break, Easter, Passover vacation. So we are still a pretty high level of individual travelers coming with families. So when you walk in our resorts right now, a lot of families all over the places. And that's going to change. And it's like that all the time. By mid-April, May, June, we have usually, because we know there is less demand, because less vacation time, or the weather is better in the Northeast. So obviously people are not traveling and looking for a warm destination when it's warm at home and there are beautiful flowers and the birds. So we have to complement our business with attracting a different type of business, which is what we call the corporate business. So I talked to my colleagues again at the Westin, at the Kimpton Seafire, myself, we're kind of in the same boat, which we have all benefiting from the compression, because people, those kind of groups that were not able to come in 20 and 21 and 22, they rebooked anything they could. So right now we are going to have a pretty strong season from mid-April to mid-June with those kind of corporate groups. So I say most of us, because one of the hotels, unfortunately, is suffering again, as you know, because you've been there. The Marriott is suffering from a beach erosion.
Right.
That is, they are not playing. Unfortunately, they don't benefit from the same than us, because that is the entire south side of 7 Mile Beach is suffering. It doesn't matter if it's condominium or the hotels. That entire portion of the beach is not, unfortunately, beneficial from the same lift that we see, after that. It's unfortunately, it's two sides here of people. So anyways, that is what we're going to see. And then it's the summertime. So, it's difficult to figure out because the behavior of the customers has changed, and people are booking at different times, so on. So far, knock on wood, I found some piece of wood. I see the pace of our business is moving at a right pace, but there is so much room that we need to book for the summer. It is too early to say, yeah, we did it. I mean, for the next 3 months, I can tell you, because the groups are already there. They're already contracted. They're already there. So that's not an issue. But for the summertime, the July, August, and September, obviously September is a different issue, but July and August is still too early to say panic or to say it's coming. But right now it's working. It's normal way, but we cannot complacent. We're going to have to. That's what we have to do now. We have to go back in the market again. So again, we did it back in the fall to fill up our Q1, and now we're gonna go back again for travelings in a different market. And actually, some of my director of sales already have moved to, because when you look at the airline, American Airlines is bringing back their direct flight from Dallas. Houston is coming back, so Atlanta is putting a daily flight. So in the summer, the schedule of the planes is changing. So suddenly we have to look at different market. It's not so much the Northeast, but more the Southern states. So we have to adjust our strategies, our travels, messagings, and use sometimes different channels of distribution. So obviously we want to go back to a certain level of occupancy to make sure that people can work as long as they can.
Okay, yes. When is the high season starting? Is it October or November?
Again, it depends what you call high season, because our job is obviously trying to maintain the occupancy of our hotel at maximum, but also maximum the rate at the same time, correct? So we are able, more or less, every hotels to maintain those 80% margin, averaging over the pretty much 10 months all the way through August almost, correct? I mean, depending on more or less success. And then we have the usual drop in September, October. And then we're starting to go back into, the business slowly mid-October, and then we go back into the season. So the season that is obviously the most beneficial is when you go from mid-December to mid-April, because you have a combination of high occupancy and high rate, which allow obviously a much better business model.
Excellent. And the reasons for me asking is this: as we develop this program, we want to educate the community about what happens in the market. And I believe that if you don't know what happens in an industry, you really don't have an interest in it. If you understand how the industry works, understand the seasons, understand the highs and lows, you get a better understanding. You may want to work inside the industry or recommend somebody, but you really need to know what's happening in an industry that is the second pillar of the community of the economy. And that's one of the reasons why we're talking about these things, high and low. You hear about them, but people understand. And I like the way that you have explained it. Now let's talk about hotels. We're seeing a new one being built close to the Kimpton. Is that going to be open in time for the next December season?
I do not know that. That is not, unfortunately, I am not the man to ask question. This seems to be going up at a pretty good pace, but I don't know what was the target date. I know the brand, it's Indigo. That's my understanding. It seems, again, because it's built by the same ownership, Darts, so it seems to be a very good quality product, and I trust that it will be a beautiful hotel and a great compliment offer. I mean, I think what's the good news is it is not targeting, obviously it's not a luxury hotel. I think everybody has their position on the island. I mean, Ritz-Carlton representing potentially the luxury hotel. Then you have the Kimpton, which also has the same right, because it just also get their 5-star Forbes, which is very
Yes.
significant. So congratulations to them, because believe me, it's a very difficult achievement. But they are representing a different segment of luxury. Even in our own company, we do have in luxury different hotel, like we have the Ritz-Carlton that is owned by Marriott International, but it's also the St. Regis, the Edition, JW. So there are different type of hotel for fitting different customers, you know. So I think there is very clear distinction now. People understand that we don't, sometimes we compete with the same customers, but most likely it's a different experience that you will feel in one versus the others. You know, it's a different feeling. So there is a customers for the Ritz-Carlton, there is a customers for the Kimpton Seafire, there is a customers for the Westin, there is a customers for the Marriott, and the Indigo is going to fit somewhere in there. So they are not going after obviously the luxury customers. That's not their goal. They are not going to compete against the St. Regis. So they have to find their niche in the middle of that. So when you bring a new hotel, at the beginning, there is always a little bit of shuffle because everybody has to find their space. So sometimes there is a little bit of competition, but the island, I believe, has a potential for more. And right now it's very, very well distributed because it's different brand and different market space.
Okay, and that's one of the reasons why I'm asking, because do we have enough room stock for the next season? If this season did go so well, do we want to, put more room stock on the market and to capitalize on
that's every time and I think it has to be a controlled growth, because you cannot just keep on building. Could we have more customers coming to Cayman? Absolutely, but then there is a question: is there enough plane to bring so many customers? And then they are here. You create. Our industry is using a lot of employees, as you know. Every one of our hotels, depending on the size, is from 400 to 900 employees. So we are asking for a lot of employees, which we have learned over time that we don't have enough interest on the island. So we have to bring and import more employees. So there is always a portion of Caymanians that are here, but that has not grown. That pool of employees dedicated to the hospitality industry, unfortunately, is not growing fast enough compared to the more hotels that have been developed. So there is still not, in my view, there is still not enough effort to think about the futures, because we know that in addition to Indigo, there will be other hotels opening. There is at least 2 or 3 right now in development. So that will represent another couple thousand employees, somewhere related to our business, and not including others, correct? But I still don't see that there is an effort to build education, to really attract and develop people to fulfill also job for the futures. And right now we are unfortunately counting on the same pool of employees. They keep on shifting and moving around, but they are the same. They have not grown that much. So we are attracting a few new every year, but at the same time, some people are also moving careers. So, as we fill up from the top, it goes somewhere else also. I mean, every year we have that issue because people, for example, at the Ritz-Carlton, we have a reputation for our selection process, our training and development. So some of our very good young Caymanians, they have developed their career here. Eventually, they get attracted by other, which is fine. I mean, it's a journey. We all grow and develop our skills. So then we have to bring new people, but it's not growing. The pool of employees dedicated to hospitality, there is still not a strong education on the island to supply the number of employees we need.
So the answer basically is there's still employment opportunities available in the tourist industry.
Well, yes and no. You look at the unemployment is 2.1%. So yes, we have thousands of positions, but there is nobody, at this point that is, unfortunately, that is not enough. Especially our businesses, we have dependent on a lot of the culinarian, food server industry. And we have seen it, and you were there when we were doing all those job fair. There is certain job that we are finding the Cayman population to be attracted to, concierge, front desk, so guest services position, but other positions such as culinarian, food servers and all that industry, unfortunately does not attract. You saw them; those tables were empty. People were not attracted by those jobs. It was not, the destination that they were looking for. So, but a hotel guest stay in the room, he needs to eat. Okay, so you only need one housekeeper for a room, but then when the customers or the family go in the restaurant, you have so many, cooks and dishwashers and food servers and server attendants, and there is a big organization, to feed, all those people. People don't just come and stay in the room.
They need to be fed. Okay, a very important question: is there enough beach for all those tourists?
Say it again.
Is there enough beach sand? Remember we said the southern end of 7 Mile Beach is eroded. Now do we have enough space on the beaches for all those tourists? But they come to the beach.
For us, it's not an issue because our beach has not changed. The sand in the middle of 7 Mile Beach, I don't see major change over the years. It's always has been there and is there. It doesn't matter if it's here or the West End or the Kempton and all those hotels. We have ample sand. The only issue we have, which is obviously on the south side, which is an issue of climate. And because I live myself on that side of the island, and I can see how we continuously have waves and current coming from the south for the last 3 years. Interesting, during COVID-19, actually, there was more beach. I remember in front of the Marriott, there was almost 50 feet of beach. So it's very recent because after that, for some other reason, why is there snow in California and there was no snow before? Obviously, there is a climate change. And right now, there is a major erosion that has not come back. So, should we wait for the nature to bring back the sand, because we don't know if and when it's going to happen. It's like assuming in California, people are going to let the snow and let the sun come and melt it. No, they have to help the nature. They have to create pathway. They have to use snow machine to allow people to leave and to go back to their business. And I think here there is something that needs to be done to support and to recreate, bases on all the south of the island to bring back sand, so that the new sand will collect on it. But right now it's at the point which is, I'm not sure how Mother Nature is going to, when it's going to bring back that sand. But in the meantime, it's really reducing. I see all those condominiums. There is a lot of people they have invested in our island to do some property rental and so on. And there is so many condominiums now, they don't have a beach, and something need to be done. And we have to stop just talking about it, and we need to start to do something about it.
Yes, I totally agree. Well, Mark, it has been a pleasure. I know we can talk so much about your industry, but we want to invite you back again to talk about some more topics.
Anytime, my friend. Anytime. It's always a pleasure.
I'm passionate about the tourist industry, and I think we should keep it at the forefront, because it's, like you said, the momentum is there now. And we need to not only look at something when it's not working, but also keep an eye on it when it's working. And
actually, I'd like to finish with that, if you don't mind, because right now you see a big smile on my face. We are happy, gung ho, but at the same time, I can tell you that internally in my hotel, I'm challenging my managers, my employees. Say, okay, what are we going to learn from the last 3 or 4 months, and how are we going to apply that for the futures? And I would suggest the same things need to happen for the island. We are very, very excited to know where we are today, that the island has been able to reopen and reattract that level of prosperity in the tourism and get everybody in. But moving forward, it is time also to have a certain consultation to say, okay, now we are back to a level where we have a pulse. We are living again.
Yes.
What do we want to do when we grow up? In which direction? Because if the goal is to just go back to where we were, I don't think that's the right direction. I think we need to learn from what has happened in the last, 2 years, and apply that to have a better idea and a better tourism product for the future.
Okay. Thank you very much, my friend. All the best for the Easter weekend. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
and
you,
I look forward to having this conversation with you again in the future.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining Cayman Conversations as we seek to elevate the level of media conversations with our special guests from all walks of life. Remember to like, share, and follow Caymanian Times social media pages. Don't forget to pick up your copy of our Wednesday and Friday newspapers at locations across the islands. Cayman Conversations is a production of the Caymanian Times newspaper. Have a great evening. and remember to drive safely on our roads. Goodbye.
Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. She walks and talks the way I love. Miss everything. She's a special kind of girl, and I want her in my world, Lord. Make good love to me, make good love to me, make good love to me all the time. Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. She walks and talks the way I love. Miss everything. She's a special kind of girl. Let's just let this love unfurl, Lord. Make good love to me, make good love to me, make good love to me all the time. Miss everything. Where have you been? Oh, I've searched for you my whole life through. Miss everything. She walks and talks the way I love. Miss everything. She walks and talks the way I love. Miss everything. She's a special kind of girl. Let's just let this love unfurl, Lord. Make good love to me, make good love to me, make good love to me all the time.
I wish I was a child again. I wish I was. When I was a child, happy to be alive. Before the evil days took away the youthful prize. When I was a child, they gave me no time. When I went astray, they put me back in line, back in line. I wish I was a child again, free and wild again, always climbing and inspiring. I wish I was a child again, a child again, child again. Let me swing on a limb, there I talk with my invisible friend. Climbing a tree, swimming in the sea. The best things in life are always free. and inspiring. I wish I was a child again. A child again, child again. Tell me it's okay to go out and play with the children of the day, with their magic eye, basking in the light. Taking flight, I wish I was a child again, free and wild again, always climbing and inspiring. I wish I was a child again. Child again, child again. I wish I was a child again. I wish I was child again, child again. Child again, child again. Marcus Garvey said, what's it there?
Wheresoever you go throughout the world, the black man is discarded, is ostracized, is relegated to the lowest of things, social, political, and economical. This therefore is just a problem and one that must be solved.
Oh yeah, Black my story, real life story. Listen up while I chant down Babylon. Black my story, don't try to stop me. 500 years under colonial plan. Emancipation, liberation through democracy. Long time we trod in freedom roads and still not free. Equal rights and justice for humanity. We want one God, one aim and one destiny. Black my story, not history. I come here to mash down Babylon. I black my story, don't try to stop me. I just this time in a Gideon. For the thieves, bloodsuckers and the wagonists, I'm here to tell you, say shadows will come to light. If you want to say your life, make your deeds positive. And no more sorry excuses are gone bye-bye. Good night, yeah. And now I lay you down to sleep. I know your mama weeps. I cry, yes, I cry. But that's the way we're living out here on the street. Black, black, black. Whoa,
Like
hey.
you have to fight your way to it, whether you will or
Black
not.
my story. Weeping and the wailing and the gnashing of teeth. Black my story, don't try to stop me. I come here suffering but down Babylon. Black my story, real life story. A judgment time in a Gideon. Discrimination, segregation and hypocrisy. Mental abuse and economic slavery. Equal rights and justice with morality. We want one God, one aim and one destiny. Unite, yeah. Freedom fighters take the streets. No time to be weak. I cry, yes I cry. But Jah will take the curse away from I and I. Black, black, my story. Black is not his story. Black, 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 my story. Black is not his story. Black, 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 my story. Black is not his story. Black, 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 my story. Oh yeah, yeah. Black my story in misery. I come here suffering but down Babylon. Black my story down in Milwaukee. I just this time in a Gideon. Yeah, black my story, don't profile me. I come here suffering but down Babylon. I black my story, real life story. I just this time in a Gideon. Black my story, police brutality. Listen up while I chat on Babylon. Black my story, don't try to stop me. 500 years under colonial plan. Yeah, black, black, black my story, cause we should be free.
wanna love you more. A man looks to his woman, says, I don't know what you see in me. You make me feel this way. Many years go by, we live, we laugh, we cry. She said, from the start you stole my heart. I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more. Friends in a car, one says he's going far to make a better way. The other he exclaimed, I wish I felt the same. No matter where you go, I want you to know that I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know, out there on the streets, strangers we will meet. We all have different views to show, but if we join our heads and hands to make a master plan, see the colors make a beautiful rainbow. Oh yeah, oh. Oh yeah, oh. What in the world have we come to? Whom this life should we run to? We all know the answer. Ways to gift of forgiving. Look at the life that we live in. I want you to know that I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know, though we come from different sides, living different lives, ooh, that's okay. It's still the same old sun who shines on everyone every day. Oh, I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more and more. Ooh, oh yeah, I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know I wanna love you more and more. Ooh, oh yeah, I wanna love you more and more and more. And don't you know wanna love you more and more and
Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. Lambert said to Bertie,
Boy, give me a soldier head.
Bertie said to Lambert,
Boy, all the scores is dead.
Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound.
Muncie.
When you talk about blue swab head all around. Muncie boat in the sound, boy, Muncie boat in the sound. When you talk about blue swab head all around. soldiers is dead, boy, all the soldiers is dead. Bertie said to Lambert, boy, all the soldiers is dead, all the soldiers is dead, all the soldiers is dead. One day, when you talk about blue swab head all around, blue swab head all around, blue swab head all around. Monty!
Hey, Lord, Lord, Lord. Well, 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 well. Yesterday I was broke. Today I got paper beyond your dreams. That's gone up in smoke, and everything ain't what it seemed. Real comeback story. Come back, come back, come back. Real comeback story. Yesterday I was womanless. Today you checking out my beauty queen. Who job place I say no man taste. I believe that for real. Real comeback story. Come back, come back, come back. Real comeback story. Yesterday I was walking the block. Today you checking out my chariot. And some wanting what I've got. You put nothing in this pot. Real comeback story. Come back, come back, come back. Real comeback story. Yesterday I was broke. Today I got paper beyond your dreams. That's gone up in smoke, and everything ain't what it seems. Real comeback story. Real comeback story. Real comeback story. I see Jupiter and Mars from far, and Saturn too. The Milky Way looks bright tonight. We were created to shine too. All the world loves a child when he smiles. All the world loves a child when he smiles. We're looking for love, but is there hope? This world is a place that can be so cold. There is one suggestion I'd like to propose. I'd like to rule the world for a day. 'Cause if I did, there'd be love and peace and no more fighting. I'd like to rule the world for a day. Every month we treat, there'd be no more greed and we'd all do the right thing. 'Cause if I did, everything would be okay. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. I teach them science and biology. Give them all a chance. How can one youth stand still and another dance? All the world deserves to smile for a while. All the world deserves to smile for a while, yeah. We're looking for love, but is there hope? This world is a place that can be so cold. There is one suggestion I'd like to propose. Propose, yeah. I'd like to rule the world for a day. 'Cause if I did, there'd be love and peace and no more fighting. I'd like to rule the world for a day. Every month we treat, there'd be no more greed and we'd all do the right thing. 'Cause if I did, everything would be okay. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Let's change some way somehow. Change some way somehow. The future is right now. The future is right now. I think I just figured it out. Yeah, 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 yeah. I'd like to rule the world for a day. 'Cause if I did, there'd be love and peace and no more fighting. I'd like to rule the world for a day. Every month we treat, there'd be no more greed and we'd all do the right thing. 'Cause if I did, everything would be okay. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. 'Cause if I did, everything would be okay. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
Red light.